Hey boys and girls, how's it going? I'm gonna make sure my audio's working okay since that's my go-to thing to do. So yep, looks like the audio is working. So quick little video here. First of all, I am working on a tutorial on how to make these models that I've been doing, so that should be available maybe tomorrow or Tuesday at the latest. I'm still working on the character I'm working on. I'm using Jim Varney, which was the guy who used to play Ernest P. Worrell. He did all the videos like Ernest Goes to Jail, Ernest Goes to Camp, Ernest Goes to Space, I think was one of them. But regardless, that's the one I'll be working with, and I'm about halfway done making it right now before I actually start training the model. It just takes a while to get source material together for the character and so forth, but that, like I say, has been requested a few times, and I've kind of blown it off, so I'm finally doing that. That'll be up, like I say, the next day or two. But anyways, putting that to the side, I wanted to show off the progress of my Laurence Fishburne model, which I've trained up to about 700,000 iterations, which is, a pretty good amount. Normally that's, between that and 1 million, you'd have a pretty good Deepface Live model anyway. And this, once again, has been made using the RTT 10 million pre-trained model that Iperov created and made available to the public. So I'll put a link in the description to where you can download Deepface Live, where you can get the RTT model is linked on the Deepface Live walkthrough page, so you can download it from there. But I could put a direct link to it also if desired. And anyways, made with Deepface Lab, the usual stuff. But I'll go ahead here and show you how it looks, because it's quite a bit of an improvement over our last time we did it. So, and you can see like every little detail in his face pretty well. Like Laurence is kind of like, like little pock marks in his skin, or like a lot of little deformations or whatever. And you can see all that stuff is doing a pretty good job of being detected. Angles are working pretty good. I moved my camera up onto a tripod so I have a little bit better view of myself instead of sitting at kind of like an upward angle. It's now about at face level, or maybe a little bit higher than my face, but it's doing a better job of kind of picking me up here. You can kind of look around, pretty smooth. I'm using temporal smoothing 2 in Deepface Live, and I'm using my CPU with a face marker instead of the GPU. For some reason I seem to get a better frame rate when I do that. Don't ask me why. But I even get pretty close to the camera, and there's still pretty good detail. I think when the RTX 4090 comes out, plus Iperov has been working on like Deepface Lab 3.0 for like the last 4 months, and I'm hoping he's making a version of this also, but they're supposed to use PyTorch instead of TensorFlow, and that will supposedly, from everything I've been told about, PyTorch is more efficient than TensorFlow. So with better hardware and with a more efficient version of these software packages, I'll be able to A, make models faster, and B, get better frame rates at higher resolutions in Deepface Live. So theoretically, like instead of a 224 resolution model, maybe we'll be able to do 320, or even maybe a little bit higher than that, and still keep good frame rates. With you'll have to have the high-end hardware, of course, but see how much of a difference PyTorch makes. But just as a comparison, I'll load up like the old model that I had, which was the last time we tried it was at like 48,000 iterations, so that's a pretty big difference. But give me 1 second here, we'll change over to that. So I mean, let me sharpen a little bit. So there's, it looked okay, but there was nowhere near the detail. Like you can see, the skin looks pretty smooth. Like it doesn't really have a lot of detail, in the cheeks or whatever. And I'll go back again to the 700,000. Give that a second to pick back up. And again, using the sharpening just a little bit. And you can see again in the cheek area and the forehead, like the wrinkles and so forth, the eyebrows, the definition of the eyes, the teeth, everything is much more well defined than it was without it. Let me try turning off color transfer mode. That really doesn't make that much of a difference. It just makes it look a little bit more orange. I was looking to see if it would kind of make me look black, but it it didn't. Okay. Just playing around with settings to see if there's a whole lot of difference we can see. Like I can almost even take a drink. And I mean, it even fairly well adapts to that. It's not perfect. You can see a little flickering around the mouth. And you can see in my cheek, it's like Laurence in my face, you know, the shape is a little bit different. He was a lot thinner back when he was making the Matrix movies and Event Horizon, which is what I used primarily for this footage. I also got some from Assault on Precinct 13, was like another movie I used for source footage for Lawrence's face, but he was thinner back then, and so his face, you can see the edge of his doesn't align perfectly with mine because I'm heavier than Laurence. Like if I push my face in here, you can kind of align it better, see. But anyways, this is the kind of detail we can get, and I probably could get better. Like if I trained at another, you know, out to 1 million, or maybe even like, you know, like 1.5 would be another several days of training. I don't know how much further I think it really needs to go, but it looks pretty good. I'd like to do continue getting Bale trained a little bit further. He's at like 260,000 since I switched over and started doing some other stuff, and I'd like to train his model out to about where this one is at, and train out the well, the other guys I'm working on anyway, like redo Arnold with the RTT model and then train him out, because even my Arnold, which has got like 3 million iterations, but it wasn't done with the RTT model, doesn't look, in my opinion, this good. Like the cheeks and stuff, like you can't see the skin details on Arnold. It's just kind of smooth, like it never picked up a lot of the skin wrinkles and things like that. So I think this looks pretty good. Guys, I guess leave me a comment in the comment section and tell me what you think, but I'm going to make all this stuff publicly available, I guess, if people really want it. I went ahead and expanded my Google Drive storage from like the stock 15 gigs out to 100 gigs, so I can upload a lot of DFM files. They're about 700 megabytes a piece, so these models, once you export them to use in DF Live, are not that large, and anybody should be able to download and just use this with their, you know, with their live software, provided you have a powerful enough PC to run it. This does use a pretty good amount of hardware to run at a decent frame rate like this, and I'm running it at a higher resolution too. Like this is 1366 by 768 in the camera source setting. I'm gonna try 1080. Well, I don't know if this will screw with OBS. Let's hope it doesn't. That might have been a mistake. I don't know. I'm gonna see what happens on YouTube here real quick. Okay, well, it's too big now for the window, so I'll have to move it back down. One sec. I guess you can't change the size of your window in mid-broadcast. OBS and YouTube don't like that. Let me see if it shrinks back down appropriately. Alright, good, it did. So, anyways, that's where I'm at with Laurence Fishburne. I do think it looks pretty nice. If anybody, like I say, has a request for a specific person to be done, let me know. I know that some people want me to do Brad Pitt. I need to find enough source of Brad Pitt where he looks kind of, you know, like sometimes you can't find in one movie, you know, enough material where he's doing a bunch of different things, like he's going you know, doing crazy facial expressions. Like we like to try to cover the gamut of all angles and whatnot, and Brad, depending on the movie, isn't always really, you know, he's kind of stoic or sort of stone-faced in some of the films he's in. I'm trying to think of something that he was in that would work really well. I don't really even know if I own any movies that he was in, so I'd have to buy something or whatever, get a, you know, maybe buy it on Amazon Prime or something. But anyways, if anybody has any suggestions for some Brad Pitt films, like the only one I can think of that I think I have around here is like Interview with a Vampire, and he's really young in that, and he's a vampire for like the better part of the movie, which he looks a little bit off, so it wouldn't really look like normal Brad Pitt. So anyways, leave a comment in the comment section if you have a suggestion on whom I should use or what films he was in. Like maybe World War Z or something would probably be a good one. I guess I could look into that. But that said, appreciate everybody watching. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel, and I will be doing more of these live models soon, along with, again, the tutorial on how to make these yourself should be available in the next day or two. Just depends on how crazy we want to get with Jim Varney, but I think he's going to look hilarious when I get that trained up a little bit further. So that said, I will talk to you guys in the near future. Later.